Hello, everyone. It's Mitch again, and thank you for tuning in. I do appreciate it. What's brought me out of my hibernation here as of late is the Treyvon Martin trial that's going to continue on June 10th. And what's piqued my interest is the type of attention that the Martin Zimmerman trial is not bringing out. And I've come to the conclusion, and I'll explain here in just a moment, that there are people that immediately drew conclusions the very night that Martin was shot and killed. From the moment we got the news, people drew a line in the sand and stood firmly on each side. A polarizing event for no apparent reason other than race. To blacks, a boy senselessly gunned down for no apparent reason other than being black. To others, a thug that got what he deserved. And now, even now, very little facts are known. We know that Martin used marijuana. He's a 17-year-old boy. He loved this mixed martial arts stuff and had a tough persona. We know that Zimmerman resisted arrest and was arrested for battery of a peace officer. He had domestic violence that led to a restraining order and alcohol abuse, and we know of his alleged sexual abuse of a child. But all of that goes out of the window when it comes to guilt and innocence in the public opinion. The only evidence that I used in forming my opinion was the 911 tape that George Zimmerman and that of a woman that called, where we could hear what I assumed was Treyvon yelling for help just before he was shot. My conclusion was that if Zimmerman had waited for the police department and stayed in his vehicle, Martin would still be alive. Full disclosure, I can legally carry a concealed handgun in the state of Florida, and I support the Castle Doctrine, which includes the stand your ground. However, I don't think that applies in this particular case. Now, what I have come to find out after some heated Twitter exchanges is that if you hate President Obama, Zimmerman is innocent until proven guilty. Race had nothing to do with this case. Martin is a thug, gangsta, wannabe, and deserved to die. If you like the president, you like President Obama, or if you dislike the NRA, then Martin was innocent and Zimmerman is allegedly guilty. Race did play a factor. What if Martin were white and Zimmerman were black? I think the roles would be reversed. I honestly do. If Martin were white and Zimmerman, who he is, I think he would be facing the death penalty at this point. Am I incorrect in either scenario? You tell me. Here's what I do know. Had Zimmerman stayed in his truck, Martin would still be alive. When I present that argument, I get, it's not illegal to leave your vehicle. Just true. If Zimmerman attempted to detain Martin, as I suspect, and it resulted in a fight, and Zimmerman was getting his ass kicked, then I think he deserved that ass whipping he was getting for confronting this kid. But the response I get is there is no evidence that that happened, which is funny because there's really no evidence that anything happened other than Martin got shot. Yet the response I get is, follow the evidence and you'll see Zimmerman is innocent. Obama just needed a race thing to gin up for the election, which is, in my opinion, a total bunch of BS. I don't think the president wanted any kind of race thing going on for the election. It's just not the way this cat's wrapped up. Among many of the Twitter arguments that I got into, one was with this guy named Doug Adams. He's at TELLEDUDE 54 at Twitter. And he said, this is a quote, this is him responding to me. Yes, thug life is short, and Treyvon Martin was a thug. World a better place without another wannabe gangsta. But it's his fault he's dead. And I end the quote. And that's just a sample. Now, of course, race had nothing to do with it, but then in the very next tweet with the same guy, and then there was many like this guy. He's typical. He replies to me, "Don't worry, you got Obama and the Black Panthers offering a 10K bounty on George Zimmerman's life. Haters gonna hate." I end the quote. Now, evidently, if you read that the way that I read that, race is heavily into this. And it's a true, again, hatred of the president that people are not looking at this objectively. Now, don't get me wrong. I want Zimmerman to get a fair trial. And I actually think that he's going to walk here because all he needs is reasonable doubt. And it's his word against a dead person's word. And, you know, there's an old saying that when, we take our concealed handgun license training, I'd rather be judged by 12 than carried by 6. And in this case, it's going to, I think, prove to Zimmerman's advantage because we will never know what happened. We will only be able to speculate and have George Zimmerman's word for it. But the disappointing thing in this is that Treyvon Martin has already been judged and determined that he deserved to die. Now, I carry a gun, and I don't confront people. And let me be honest, I'm not going to shoot anyone over property. If someone's breaking into my neighbor's house, I'm going to call the cops, and I'm going to let them deal with it. If I can gather any information without getting myself hurt, I will do that, such as, descriptions and license plates or anything that I think that can help law enforcement. But I'm not going to put myself at risk over property that can be replaced by insurance. Now, with that said, if you break into my house, chances are I'm going to blow you away. But I'd have to be here. And I don't necessarily want anyone to shoot a person for breaking into my house unless they're hurting one of my pets or my wife's at home. And you get the idea. But I wouldn't confront someone that's walking through the neighborhood. So when I put myself in Zimmerman's position, there's no way in hell that I would have ever put myself in a position to be confronted or attacked, or I just wouldn't have confronted the guy. But, if you carry a weapon, that gives you a certain amount of courage. And, we can all draw our own conclusions, but you know what? Let me know what you think in the comments. I'm curious. Do you believe that a race had nothing to do with this, as the guy that I was talking to or going back and forth with on Twitter, even though he said that Obama and the Black Panthers is a 10K bounty on Zimmerman, which I highly doubt. I don't think that President Obama would stoop to something like that. And besides, he's the president. A drone could accidentally fall on Zimmerman if it needed to be. But anyway, that's my 2 cents. And please let me know what you think. I certainly appreciate it. Have a good day, and thank you for tuning in.